The dopamine and oxytocin paradox. Why focusing on one neurochemical misses the bigger picture? A common question in neuroscience, coaching, and popular psychology is human behavior driven mainly by specific chemicals like dopamine or oxytocin? While these neurochemicals are important, focusing on one in isolation can be very misleading. This creates what can be called the dopamine paradox and the oxytocin paradox, the oversimplification of complex human behavior into single chemical explanations. The popular narrative. Dopamine is often described as the motivation or reward chemical, while oxytocin is labelled the bonding or love hormone. These descriptions are appealing because they are simple. However, human behavior is not controlled by one chemical at a time. It emerges from complex brain chemistry and interconnected brain systems. Why single chemical thinking is inaccurate science? A key issue is that neurochemicals do not act independently. Instead, dopamine can drive both healthy goal pursuit and addictive behaviors, and is involved as a part of neurochemistry in all of the 7 primary emotional brain systems: seeking, care, play, lust, fear, panic and/or grief, and rage. Showing behavior is certainly not single chemical driven at all. Oxytocin can increase trust and bonding within a group, but may also heighten defensiveness toward outsiders. It too is produced in multiple brain systems involving complex networks of neurotransmitters, chemical messengers, that regulate mood, behavior, cognition, and physical functions. These 2 examples make it clear that single chemicals do not drive behavior, and that this thinking is totally inadequate science. Effects depend on context, environment, and underlying brain systems. Brain systems drive behavior, not just chemicals. Rather than focusing on individual chemicals, it is more accurate to understand behavior through broader systems. For instance, motivation is linked to the brain's reward and seeking systems. Connection is influenced by the attachment and care systems. Threat involves the fear and rage systems. These systems interact dynamically and are regulated through the autonomic nervous system. Neurochemicals like dopamine and oxytocin act as messengers within these systems, not as isolated drivers. The paradox in practice. The paradox appears when people attempt to optimize one chemical, trying to boost dopamine for productivity, trying to increase oxytocin for better relationships. Without considering the brain's systems, practices can lead to unhealthy outcomes. For example, excessive focus on dopamine-driven activities can lead to overstimulation and burnout. Attempting to force connection without emotional safety may not produce genuine bonding. The role of balance and regulation. A more accurate practice to aim for is balance across systems determines well-being. Healthy functioning involves appropriate activation of motivation systems, safe and authentic connections, effective regulation of stress responses. This balance cannot be achieved by trying to target a single neurochemical. Implications for psychology and coaching. For coaches and practitioners, this understanding is critical. Rather than focusing on boosting dopamine or increasing oxytocin, effective approaches address underlying emotional systems, support nervous system regulation, consider context, behavior, and environment. This leads to more sustainable and meaningful change. Moving beyond simplification. A common question is, why are simplified explanations so popular? Because they are easy to understand, share, and market. However, they often overlook the complexity of human biology. Understanding the brain requires moving beyond labels and recognizing that behavior is system-driven, emotions are context-dependent, change involves multiple interacting processes. Lasting change and well-being come not from chasing individual chemicals, but from understanding and working with the full complexity of the brain systems and networks.